Hello everyone, in this video I want to talk about searching government contracts. That is it. How it's hard, why it's hard, where to find government contracts, and how to find government contracts with the help of AI a lot faster and a lot quicker. So let's get started. Why is searching for government contracts so hard? But let's talk about where are these government contracts are placed in the first place. So we have the federal contracts that we all know on sam.gov right here. We have SLED contracts, which are the state, local, and education contracts, which we can find across hundreds and thousands of websites. Can't even keep track of them. And then we have the DIBBS, which is the defense contracts, as one of the examples of an agencies that have their own website. So the biggest struggle with finding government contracts is there's no one-stop shop to find all these contracts. And matter of fact, 95% of federal contracts aren't even on sam.gov. And before they go on sam.gov, there's another stage that they're in, which is the forecast, when they're being forecasted to be a contract, which are also not on sam.gov. They're on their own forecast website. But let's discuss DIBBS really quickly. DIBBS is the Defense Logistics Agency's complex bid board system. Let's take a look at it. When you open DIBBS, this is what you're welcomed with, which looks like it was built in 1885. I just got an error occurred that it was reported by the DIBBS tech team. Can't even access it. This was actually not in the script of the video because I want to show you how to find the solicitation, but it seems like, here you go. And now we're accessing the DIBBS platform. As you can see, again, it's built in a very frustrating way that can't really understand where to go if you're a first-time user or if you're a 10th time user. Thing being is that because the government doesn't invest more time into implementing updates on the DIBBS platform, it makes it a lot harder for us to find contracts. And a lot of these contracts are easy wins when it comes to the DIBBS because they look for gadgets, goggles, gloves, etc., and we don't even have access to find these contracts because of how hard the search is. It's essentially mostly military supplies, but it requires specialized knowledge to navigate effectively. Now let's talk about SLED, state, local, and education contracts. It's very diverse and very decentralized. Let's take an example of the state of Texas. So if I want to bid on a contract for the state of Texas, I wish I can go on texas.com website and find all the bids. No, I have to go through a list that is so long. Let's look at the state of Texas. It's a list that I put together, and these are all websites for the state of Texas, whether they're cities, local, counties, education. That just goes on and on and on and on. And if you're a business, I highly doubt you have time to not just find these websites, make accounts on these websites, and find contracts on these websites. And you're still expected to bid before the deadline, find the contracts on time, not miss any contracts, and these websites just go on and on and on. And it's almost impossible that you would have to focus on one specific website, move on to the other, etc. Each website has its own unique formatting, its own unique logins, its own unique rules and registration requirements. Thousands of county and municipal procurements when it comes to local, many with minimal online presence. It's very hard to even find these websites. And education, lastly, school districts and universities often maintain procurement systems from their governing municipalities. However, unlike federal space, there is no standardized approach to SLED procurement, which allows vendors to monitor multiple platforms and build relationships with local officials. And this is forecast, what we were talking about earlier. It would be right here. You would choose the agency, and then from the agency, you would look the agency procurement forecast websites for it. So as you can see, there are also multiple procurement forecast websites. So federal agencies publish procurement forecasts to provide advance notice for upcoming contracts. That's what the forecast is promising. However, the reality, forecasts are not binding and frequently change. The format and detail level varies dramatically by agency, often excludes smaller contracts below thresholds. It only covers forecasts above 250, and many opportunities never appear in forecasts at all. Let alone finding these forecasts is also complicated. So to recap really quickly, we have SAM, the main most known federal website. We have the DIBBS, which is the DLA internal system. We have the procurement forecasts for each agency, and we have thousands of SLED websites that they are across the United States between state, local, and education. And the problem with that is that not just finding these websites is hard. We all know how even the search within the website is also very complex. So let's explain that a little bit deeper. So semantic versus keyword. So keyword is what the government currently uses. It's the literal match. It requires users to know exact terminology. Cloud computing versus data hosting can miss relevant opportunities if different phrasing is used or typo. Often yields a high volume of results, many of which may be irrelevant due to lack of context. Success depends heavily on the accuracy and breadth of the search terms used. So this is the downside of keyword, and that's what the government currently uses across the board: SLED, federal, etc., etc. Let's take a look at semantic and understand what semantic search is. It's understanding the context and the intent. It leverages AI and natural language processing (NLP) to understand the meaning and intent behind the query, not just the word. So it understands synonyms, related concepts, overall context of information. Can find cloud computing contracts even if the document only mentions distributed data storage solutions. It reduces irrelevant results by focusing on underlying meaning, leading to more precise matches, which significantly enhances the discovery of hidden or harder to find opportunities. Now let's include all this semantic search. Let's also add all these websites in one platform, one place, one software that you can look with any query you want, and that would give you SAM search. Now this is how you can find contracts with AI using SAM search. So it's an AI powered search that is supported with the semantic search that we were talking about. So what that means is you don't have to look for the exact keyword match. So for example, if you want to look for logistics contracts with the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, we can simply just look for logistics with the Department of Homeland Security, and then we will find results that are with the Department of Homeland Security, and they look like they're logistics, which is a little bit of a broader term. But if we look, for example, FEMA Disaster Relief, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and we see that when we said disaster relief, it now got us National Cross-Dock and Incident-Based Support Contract with the FEMA National Cross-Dock. So it fully understood and comprehended what we are trying to look for and gave us these kind of contracts as a result. Now, the first thing that you'll see is also you're getting a quick smart summary generated by AI, and you get a quick tags like the type. So we see this is a solicitation, the department, if this is a product or a service, the RFX type, so this is an RFP, and the relevant NAICS code as well. Now this exact same thing goes for state as well. So I looked for school laptops and I misspelled the laptops on purpose. If it was on a keyword search, it wouldn't find it because laptop is not matching with anything. But because it's understanding what I'm trying to look for, it gave us school computer repairs, supplies and related items and service, and that is for the school district in Texas. I can narrow down my searches with choosing the state. From here, I can narrow down my searches by choosing the level. So if I want it to be a state, county, city, local, and education, etc., etc. And in the next month, you will also be able to search not just federal and SLED, but also forecast and DIBBS and subcontractors and primes, all from the same platform. And that's the point of having a one-stop shop that understands what you're trying to look for, understands the struggle of having to look through thousands and hundreds of websites to find a contract, and you don't want to miss on other contracts as well. So there's also the FOMO feeling that it tries to eliminate right here, and also having access to all these contracts at once in the same place that understands what you're trying to look for, and you get smart summaries. And with all these contracts that you end up finding, you can save, and you can also choose, and you also have the option to view the original listing on the actual software, on the actual website, so you also don't lose track of where that contract is coming from. You still have access to viewing the opportunity on the Texas website, for example, or the federal website, etc., etc., and we see the actual contract right here. You get other features like summarizing the attachments, getting the proposal, and all of that kind of stuff, but that's a video for later. It was essentially the whole point of this video is the only way to navigate through the complexities to unlock more opportunities is by searching smart, which will allow you to search and find results faster. It is complex. We saw the websites without the interfaces. They're very complex. It's a maze of portals, hidden deals, evolving forecasts that requires dedication to master. Something that the bigger companies don't really complain about because it does work for their benefit because they have the resources of time, employment, and other resources that they can invest and find these contracts. But the average business, it does not. And matter of fact, it shouldn't be wasting its time on looking for contracts. The time spent should be more on developing the business, performing the contract itself, not spending weeks and endless hours looking for a contract. So if you would like to try SAM Search, I'll leave a link in the bio as a resource, and I will also leave the AI NAICS code search so you can look for the relevant NAICS codes also using semantic search. And thank you very much for watching.